Hi, welcome to the channel. I'll be covering the valuation of C Limited today. As usual, please do your own due diligence, and this is not a financial advice. More importantly, I believe quality comes before valuation. Give you an example, my friend recently ordered curry chicken from an economic rice store. She received 3 pieces of chicken and asked the store owner, "Why you give me all bones?" The guy replied, "Usually customers only get 2. I gave you 3 since you didn't get the good parts." The point here if something is not useful or even useless, it has no value to me even if you sell me cheaper or give it to me for free. In investment term, make sure you believe in the fundamentals of the business first. If this is a fail, no point proceeding with the valuation. There are many valuation models out there. I'll be using some of the parts given that C has 3 distinct businesses and each of them is at different stage of growth. I have chosen to value the business 1 year forward to keep it simple. You can stretch the model forward to any time frame using the same concept. One important thing to note here is that there are 2 ways you can look at this model. In this video, we will project the value of the company 1 year forward using the assumptions that you think is reasonable. The yellow cells are where you can input the assumptions. In the next video, I will show you how to use the same model to guess what the market is thinking. Now we shall start with Garena. I have used price to EBITDA as the gaming business is growing its operating profits. So right here you see TTM, and that refers to 12-month trailing profits, which means using Q4 2022 added with Q1 to Q3 2021 to get the full year profits. We have to input the growth rate here in the yellow box. So if we look at the past year's trend, 2020 profit actually doubled from 500 million to 1B, but that's probably due to a COVID effect. The latest growth rate actually slowed down to 22% in Q3 2021. So given that user growth and top line has actually slowed down quite a fair bit, let's be conservative and assume a growth rate of 15%, which is lower than the latest Q3 of 2020 of 22%. So for multiple, right, you can see that there is a table here from the DPS research report. These are the list of prominent game developers. So if I were to average them out and I apply a discount of 25%, I will get about 17. So I will have to key 16.5 here, and that will result in a share price of $102 just for the Garena itself. Yeah. So if we move on to Shopee, we'll do the same thing here. I will not be able to use operating profits in this case since the business is currently loss making. I have chosen GMV as the revenue is very much tied to the sales volume as I shared in my previous video. The correlation of C share price to GMV is actually about 97 to 98% according to the DBS research report. So if we look over here, the table, we can actually see the growth rate of GMV is projected by DBS to be 57% per year for the next 3 years. So if we assume the growth rate is as such, we key in 57%. This is pretty much conservative because the latest Q3 GMV growth was actually around 80+%, but it may be hard to continue to grow at such a high rate. So 57% do sound reasonable. Feel free to change this if you feel otherwise. And right now, if you move down to the multiples itself, there's also a table here prepared by DBS. If you see, Coupang and Mercado Libre actually on the higher side of 1 plus price to GMV. So to play on the safer side, maybe we can use what DBS projected of 0.72. Maybe we can put in round up to 0.8 here, and that will give us a per share value for Shopee of $135. If you move down to C, right, I actually use price to revenue since the company is still loss making. The business is still at its infancy stage, and perhaps we can use 100% of growth due to the low base effect here. So the multiple of Visa and MasterCard according to Morningstar is actually around 17.5. If I apply a ballpark discount of 25%, we can use a multiple of around 13 to value C money. And that will derive a low value of around $7. So if I refer you to the right hand table, this is more of a summary of what we have done in the sum of the parts valuation model here. So what you see here is the $244 is actually a 1 year forward intrinsic value. you can see that most of its value is derived from Shopee due to its high growth, while Garena is of next importance, being that it's a profit and cash flow provider for the company as a whole. Also, if you remember, C actually recently the share price has dropped down to the 130s level. So right here you can actually see that Shopee by buying Shopee at $130 you will get Garena and C money for free. So this is the extent of how pessimistic the market has gotten to in the recent days. Yeah. So I will end off this valuation exercise with two very important points. First, valuation is always a range and not a single price. $244 is the number that we got out of the many assumptions we made here, which can be way off. I would suggest that you repeat this exercise with the numbers that you feel comfortable with, and also with different assumptions by creating a bear, base, and bull case. You should also test out the sensitivity of the intrinsic value to the different assumptions that you have made here. The key drivers would usually make a big difference to the business value as a whole. Lastly, I want to reiterate that quality comes before valuation. You must have deep conviction of the company to withstand volatility of stock price. This valuation is built on your understanding of the company to be able to make reasonable assumptions. In times of crisis, Mr. Market will trash this valuation model as it's ruled by fear in the short term. Such valuation models may be an objective way for you to look at things even when the sky appears to be falling. That's all. Thank you for listening and keep a lookout for the next video.